Hey, shalom, my brothers. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. This is your brother Ayathan with another video. This video here is going to prove, furthermore, that you so-called Negroes here in America that call yourself African Americans, your true nationality is that you're the Israelites of the Bible, and your language is not English. It's not Arabic, okay? And it's none of the African languages, because you like to give yourselves these crazy names like Shaquisha and like Tupac and all these different names, which you believe that you're Africans, and you believe you'll take on any nationality on what you really are, which you are the Hebrew Israelites. Your original language, your original tongue is Hebrew. Now, what I have here is a newspaper article from, as you can see here, this is from the Houston Daily Post, September 20th, 1987. And this is, what do they call it? This is a microfiche. And you can get these in most libraries. But this also proves, this is also another reason that Esau wants to do away with books. If you notice, back in the day, it was all about hardcore books. The internet wasn't as prevalent as it is today as far as seeking information. You usually go to the library and then you would get books. You go search through microfiches like this, or you'd pick up books to read, encyclopedias. When back in the day, everybody had encyclopedias in their house. Everybody had encyclopedias in their crib, and you would refer to these encyclopedias and to these dictionaries for information. But now what Esau is doing, and this is systematic, Esau is transferring everything from hardcover to the internet. And I'll tell you why. The reason why is because through the internet you can change history. A hardcover book, you cannot change the history. That's why the scriptures say, blessed is he that readeth, in Revelation 1 and 3, okay? And then, was it Job 8 and 8? I believe it says where to prepare the search for their fathers. So these hardcore books, once a book is written, it's written. That's why the scriptures say, as it is written. Once something is written, it cannot be changed. Now with digital media, you can edit, you can change history in a couple minutes. You can go in there and change history. So when somebody Googles something, it's whatever. Go to Wikipedia, for example. Wikipedia is open source, open information. Anybody could go on Wikipedia and edit the information. You don't know where the information comes from. So the internet, anybody could change. Esau could change whatever they want. Okay. Now there's certain things on the internet like this right here, what we're looking at, which are copies of actual written material that existed in ancient days that have solid information that if you really want to find the truth about something, you can search these things out. So this is when they're going to pass the net neutrality ban to where all this stuff is cut off, period. And I'm going to show you why. Now, as I said, this is a Houston Daily. This is an actual newspaper. This is a scan of it. And I'm going to scroll here. Now, if you can, I'm sure you brothers can read this. Now, if you right here, it says, this is an article in this paper, Negro who can write Hebrew. Now, once again, this is from, this is from I just had it locked here. This is from 1897. All right, September 20th, 1897. And it says here, I just had a Negro who can write Hebrew. Now check this out, brothers. Negro who can write Hebrew. He is deaf and dumb and comes from an African town. All right? Which we all know that Jake fled to West Africa pursuant to Revelation, was it the 12th chapter? And then, certain history books you read. We always bring out from Babylon and Timbuktu, where explicitly states that the Hebrews, the Negroes, during the Roman persecution, they fled from 70 AD. They fled from Jerusalem, and from Roman rule, and they fled into West Africa. Okay, so this is where this deception that we're Africans came from, because that's when the Ham sold us, and you can read about this in the scriptures. What is it in Joel? Okay, when Ham sold us to Esau, we were living in West Africa. So this is why it says he is deaf and dumb, comes from an African town, because that's where the slaves came from. Now, this is in Hartford, Connecticut, as you can see here. Hartford, Connecticut, September 19th. A young African Negro has been in the city for the last few days who claims to be a Hebrew. He is deaf and dumb and as black as an ace of spades. Now, when you read that, I know immediately a scripture comes to mind. And I want to know if any of you brothers, a scripture sparked in your mind, but this is Lamentations. Lamentations 4:7, referring to our own people, to Jake. Her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was as sapphire. Verse 8, the visage is blacker than a coal. All right? The visage is blacker than a coal. Now, if you read this here, what does it say? It says, he is deaf and dumb and as black as an ace of spades. Right? Reading down, it says, he carries a pad of paper with him and answers all questions by writing them in Hebrew and Loshen Kodesh, right? Now, if you brothers immediately, you should know what it's referring to. Now, this is written in, I guess you can call this some Old English, but this is Lashon Kodash, which we always teach you brothers. Lashon Kodash, which means what? The pure tongue, or you can say the holy tongue, or you can also say pure or holy language, okay? But it literally means the holy tongue, Lashon Kodash, okay? So in Hebrew and Lashon Kodash, which is the ancient, what we call Paleo-Hebrew, it says, what excites the most wonder is that he writes Lashon Kodash very rapidly. Why? Because he's an Israelite. Okay, from West Africa, an Israelite, probably from Fort Judah. Now, you brothers know, you can go, this is very well-known history. Let me go here. In West Africa, right here, you had different forts. Now, this is the kingdom of Wuda, which really stands for Judah, or Yahawada, right? The kingdom of Yahawada was a kingdom on the coast of West Africa, in the boundaries of the modern nation of Benin. So these people from Benin and from this area of West Africa, they're from what? The kingdom of Judah, okay? So this is most likely where this guy came from, but this is just further proof. You just got to put the pieces together, man, okay? That we are the Israelites. Now, going back to the article, let's read further. Okay. It says, he writes very rapidly. It is a language of the books of Moses and is made a special study of, spoken and written with the ease only by rabbis and highly educated Hebrew. So in other words, the way this Jake was writing a Hebrew was like he's known it all his life. And they're saying only highly educated Hebrews and highly educated rabbis could write in a manner that this guy was writing this Hebrew with ease, okay? It says, the Negro was sent to one of the rabbis of Hartford, who is perfectly satisfied that he is a Hebrew. Yeah, because this guy probably knows that he's an actual Israelite, and he couldn't help but be astonished at the way this guy was writing. And they probably use this guy. You know, they use him for some information gathering to help them write some stuff or to help them correct whatever they was working on, right? It says, a Negro was sent to one of the rabbis of Hartford who is perfectly satisfied that he is a Hebrew. He says that he came from a large town in Africa. We just showed you the kingdom of Yahawada. A large town in Africa where there is a tribe of about 20,000 black Hebrews who speak Lashon Kodash and are quite prosperous. In other words, we was doing our thing over there in West Africa. You know, Jake was doing a thing over there. They had a thriving community. You know, they was practicing. Well, they were practicing the customs 100%, but at least they knew who they were and they had the language. Okay. But as the scriptures say, man, in the curses in Deuteronomy the 28th chapter, the Lord said that He was going to send ships from America to West Africa, and to send us over here to an enemy with a stuttering tongue and a language that we would not understand, which are these crackers, right? And from then on, the curses heavily fell upon us, and we totally, going back to Jeremiah, was it 17:4? We totally fell off from our heritage. To where today you tell a Negro he's a Hebrew, and that his original tongue is Hebrew, and he's gonna look at you like you got 10 heads, you know. But the Most High is gonna return all this back to us, you know. Let's go to Zephaniah. I believe it was 3 and 9. Okay, I haven't brought this down in a while. Zephaniah 3:9. For then I will turn to the people a pure language, that they may call upon the name of the Lord to serve Him with one consent. And that pure language is what? Is that Lashon Kodash. Okay, the Lashon Kodash, which this man was writing in. You see? So it says, and the Negro was sent to one of the rabbis, okay, of Hartford, who is perfectly satisfied that he is a Hebrew. He says that he came from a large town in Africa where there is a tribe of about 20,000 black Hebrews who speak the Lashon Kodash, Hebrew, and are quite prosperous. He also says that his father is a rabbi in that town, and that is why his father took the trouble to teach him to write these languages, which needed an extra amount of labor on the account of him being deaf and dumb. Okay, deaf and dumb meaning he couldn't hear and he couldn't speak, but he can write. He says his people not only write Lashon Kodash, but it is their speaking language as well. Did you hear that? He says his people not only write Lashon Kodash, but it is their speaking language as well. So if Jakes are Africans, how come he wasn't speaking the African tongue? This shows you that this group of Negroes, so-called Negroes, was different than the rest of the continent of Africa. These were Hebrew Israelites, okay? It says his people not only write Lashon Kodash, but it is their speaking language as well. He left home a few years ago and has seen a good deal of the world. In each town, he hunts up the Jewish section, and there they give him clothes, food, and money. What surprises him, he writes, is that no Hebrew knows of his countrymen in Africa. Yeah, going back to the curses, okay, where we totally fell off from who we are. All right. So this here, man, this is irrefutable proof of who we are. Okay, because history does not lie. You know? So I'm not gonna go on and on, man. This is the main point. I'm gonna put the link to this in the whatchamacallit in the description. And I would like you brothers to re-upload this video as much as possible, because this cannot be denied, man. This cannot be denied. This is an actual newspaper, okay? An actual newspaper. So anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom. All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Shalom.